Let's go back to homescreen.dart. And now if we look back at our UI, we're going to work on the nearby restaurants. And this is a column where we have the text in here for the first widget. And then beneath this, we're going to just have another column which contains each one of our restaurants. And the reason we use a column here instead of a list view builder is because if we used a list view builder, then we would only be scrolling this portion of the page, and the page here would not disappear and go up into the screen. That's why we need to use a column widget. So then we add a bunch of restaurants down here, and then when we scroll up, we're going through the column instead of being stuck on a vertical list view builder. So let's start by making our column widget. We'll have children, and the first child will be text, nearby restaurants. Then we want to style it. Text style, font size 24.0, font weight.w600. And lastly, we need to set the letter spacing to 1.2. And let's move the nearby restaurants over to the left side of our screen by accessing cross-axis alignment.start. And just like our recent orders, we need to add padding on our text. Edge insets.symmetric, horizontal 20.0. And then immediately below this padding widget, we're going to call a function called buildRestaurants. And that will not take in anything. At the very top of our homescreen.dart, let's create that function now. Build restaurants, and it doesn't take in any parameters. We're going to have a list of widgets, and we'll call it restaurant list, and set it equal to nothing. And then we want to return a column widget with children, and instead of saying widget and then empty braces, we can just put restaurant list, because that's also a list of widgets. Hit save. And now the plan is to loop through our restaurants list, which is in data.dart. So we're looping through our list of restaurants. And then for each restaurant, we're going to display the data and add it to our restaurant list, which gets returned in a column. So let's do restaurants dot for each. And here we get a restaurant, and make sure to import it, restaurant, and then curly braces. Now we need to create these containers, and if we look at our restaurant UI here, it's pretty similar to our recent orders, where we have a container on the outside that has a border. We have an image on the left side, and then a column containing a bunch of text widgets. And our image and column would be wrapped in a row again. So let's first start by making this container. Let's do restaurant list.add, and then we want to add a container that has margin edge insets dot all, edge insets dot symmetric, horizontal 20.0, and vertical 10.0. And don't forget to add the closing semicolon here. After that, we'll make the decoration, box decoration, color, colors.white, border radius dot circular 15.0. And lastly, we need to create the border again. So border dot all width 1.0, color, colors.gray 200. And hit save. And now we see some very, very small containers with borders here. And let's change that by creating our child of our container. The child will be a row widget. that has children. The first child will be an image, asset image, and then we're accessing the restaurant's image. So restaurant.image URL. And now we have the images for our restaurants, but they have a pixel overflow, and that's because we need to set the height and width. Height 150.0, width 150.0. And then to make it fill to the size of the box, we'll do fit box fit dot cover. And it covers the area nicely now. And if you guys remember how to add the rounded corners to our image, that was also simple. We just hit command period on image, wrap it in a new widget called clip r rect, and then we set the border radius dot circular 15.0 and hit save. And now we have our image with rounded corners, and our container has a light gray border with a white background. Now we get to create the container, which has a column widget, and inside the column widget we have 4 different text widgets. So underneath clip r rect, we'll make a container that's going to have a margin edge insets.all 12.0. Now let's make our child column children, and then the first will be text restaurant dot name. After that we'll have the rating stars, and we'll write that in a second. So for now we'll just write rating stars here and comment this out because we're going to use a function to do that. After that we have text restaurant dot address, and then below that we're going to put 0.2 miles away. And that's just the distance of how far the restaurant is from us. And you can always add that as a property of your restaurant.dart file. Let's style our text. Style, text style, font size 20.0, font weight.bold. For the restaurant address, style, text style, and we'll make the font size 16.0, and the font weight will be semi-bold, so font weight.w600. And then lastly, for 0.2 miles away, we will just copy what we wrote for the restaurant address and paste that in. And just like the recent orders, we'll add some spacing between our text, and that'll just be sized box, height 4.0. And then again between our soon rating stars and text, we'll put one here and hit save. And the last thing we have to add to make sure our text does not get cut off by the container and overflows is overflow text overflow dot ellipsis, and put that on all of our text widgets here. To move the text widgets to the left side, we can access that in column, cross-axis alignment.start. And then to make sure our column is centered, main axis alignment.center. All that's left to do is implement the rating stars here in between the restaurant name and the address. And because we're going to be using the stars on our home screen and also in our restaurant screen, let's make it into a separate widget that's going to build these stars for us. So let's uncomment rating stars, and rating stars is going to take in the restaurant.rating, and that's going to be the integer, which is the number of stars the restaurant has. Then let's go into our widgets folder, make a new file called rating_stars.dart. And then here we're going to make a stateless widget, rating stars. Remember to import material.dart. It's going to take in the rating, which is a final int rating. And then for the constructor of our rating stars, we'll have it taken this dot rating. Now go back to the home screen and remember to import rating stars. And now when we write rating stars, we're going to see it appear right here. So rating stars is going to return a text widget. And for now, let's write stars and hit save. And we see that the rating stars will go right in between our name and address. Let's write string stars and make it equal to an empty string. Then let's write a for loop. For in I equals 0, I is less than the rating, I++. And then all we want to do is do stars plus equals. And then I copied the star emoji from online. And we're just going to add the star right there. And add a semicolon after. And now when we return the text, we want to return stars. Let's hit save. And we see that our stars appear. But we can make them bigger by adding the text style. Text style font size 18.0. And I also want to add some spacing between our stars, so they're spread out more. So let's add 2 spaces, hit save. And then just to remove the extra white space at the end, we can just do stars.trim. And that's going to remove any leading and trailing white space. And we finished creating our nearby restaurants.